spare bedroom over there, and I had a
Be a
little room.
lawyer.
Well, lawyer, they just wanted me to be, if I can get into a school, maybe be a teacher, they thought. But, no, I heard about one night, my mother saying to me, I think he's crazy. I know, I think there's something wrong with him. I told it to a few writers, they said they were right.
Hey, man.
The next question is, what was your first break then?
The first break was really, I had done a lot with, had been very much involved with the Catholic Church in a way, and that area where I was raised was Italian and Sicilians, and there was, good working class people who were trying to create a family, but there was also the underworld element that was there, and a nice place of respite was the cathedral that's down there, St. Patrick's Old Cathedral. And I used to hang out in there, and I became a kind of an altar boy in a way. And there was this young priest who came downtown. He was his first diocese. He was about 23. He's still alive now. And he made the difference. He would look at us. He had a way of thinking. He'd introduce us to classical music, discuss David Lean films, and you know what I'm saying? It was a whole other thing. It's like, you don't have to live this way. Come on. You know?
You're
touching him, he's alive.
Yeah, he's terrific. It's a tough one, but he was like, even threw me out of the altar boys. I just couldn't show up at that 7 o'clock mass. Oh, God. So I thought, the only way to go would probably be, I liked films and loved what these people were professing to do, and I saw him do it. I saw him do it. I mean, we had, in the grammar school that was down there, we had the Irish nuns from Dublin, called the Sisters of Mercy. It was a little bit. But this guy was really interesting. So I said, this is the way. And the older priests were they used to take care of the old Italians. Who knows what they were saying? Another world, a Sicilian village, who knows? I don't know. You see, around the corner was this place called America. I don't know what the hell it was, And so we'd go and get glimpses of it, And so he forced us to think differently. And what happened was I went to Catholic school, tried to follow in his footsteps, but I didn't have that vocation, that call. And so I went to a Catholic high school, and right around that time I saw Ingmar Bergman's Seventh Seal, I saw these other films, and I said, I found I couldn't, my averages weren't very good because I was always confused in school and trying to find different things. And the only place that would take me would be the place that you could pay for, and that was NYU.
So it wasn't about meeting the girls then, the actresses?
Girls, no. Oh, no. That was a whole other thing.
Oh, okay.
That came a couple of years later. But what happened is that it had film courses, but not majors. I mean, not you had to go there to take history and physics and psychology and English and foreign languages and that sort of thing. And by the third year, you can get to do a film. And when I went in there, I met this professor named Haig Manouchian, who was Armenian American. And the Armenians and Greeks and Jews and the whole mix was different. And they were very passionate, and the Armenian influence was very strong, and very passionate about cinema. And they were very much like Italians. It was I don't know. He loved Italian films from post-war La Strada and films like that, Rossellini's films, which I saw when I was a kid, Open City. And so we wound up, I said, I'll follow this guy. He reminded me of the priest, in a different way, of course. And by the third year, I was able to make a short film, and then that film received some attention and some awards, and then another one.
Was that The Big Show?
No, that came about a year later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that got another kind of attention. That was pretty
what
strong.
inspired that?
That was a kind of, it started out as a kind of demonstration against that was a war Vietnam thing.
I thought,
angry.
Yeah.
But it took on another role. I don't know. It apparently upset a lot of people. And,
Did it?
Yeah.
Because I watched it at NYU. I did the directing course at NYU.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
And we watched it.
Oh, God. Well, that came out of NYU. It's just that I didn't do it in the class.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it with their help. So it's not with the professor's guidance. But, basically to get a film school, you don't go there to learn to learn about film. There's no such thing, really. I mean, I love the film schools. I support NYU doing anything you want. It's just that with a kid, as you know, the kid has to find a passion. Right. The kid has to find something they want to do, whatever it is they want to do. And if it happens to be film, or it happens to be, what's the word, telling stories, you can do it today, you can do it. I was standing here. Now everything you see here is ancient in a way. And so that was the thing. It was to go to that school, to find somebody like that professor and a few other people there, to give you the sense that you could do it, because my parents, that's when they thought it was crazy. But then when the first film, the little short, won some, like a scholarship, they said, there's other people that seem he's so... They don't know. And so they became involved with it too. They were in the movies, and, you know, they act, oh, it's your parents. If you need an actor, get them in. You gotta do it. And that led to the first
Exactly,
feature.
I need an
Yeah.
Italian couple.
That's a long way of going about it, but basically then it led to the first feature I tried to make, which didn't work out, and then, by the time it was 1970, I wound up in Los Angeles and editing rock documentaries, rock and roll. A lot of music has always been very strong, and I was one of the original editors on Woodstock. Then I had to split on that, and I wound up there doing some terrible film, editing it, a rock and roll film. And at the same time I met Roger Corman, who'd done these low-budget films, and he had seen this independent feature I tried to make. And so he said, would you like to make an exploitation film? I said, sure. Takes place in 1932, and it's got, you know, trains and you know, robberies. I said, sure, you know, and I made that and learned how to make a film in 24 days.
Wow.
In 24 days, and then edited right away, and that was then applied to Mean Streets.
Right.
But it would not have been applied to Mean Streets if John Cassavetes hadn't seen the film, because Cassavetes liked my first film, this film I made in New York.
Did you do your own editing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't take credit because I wasn't in the union, but it's a different name. But the Cassavetes looked at the exploitation film with Barbara Hershey and David Carradine. It's a nice film, but it's a kid's film in a way, a juvenile thing, but nice, I think, for them, not for me. But I did learn how to physically make a film with a crew and people didn't want to be there. I had 3 cameramen in 4 weeks. 3 cameramen. Two guys
Wow.
quit. Now, who's this guy? I couldn't take it. So Cassavetes told me, he said, you know, don't. He said, come here. And he hugged me and he said, that's nice. Like the picture. You can see that you like the girl. Everything is nice. And he said, but it's really, don't waste you just wasted your life making a piece of shit. Don't do it again. You're better than that. You better, don't you have something you want to do? I said, well, it's this old story of my old friends. He goes, do it. And within a year, somehow it all came together, and we used the same crew from Roger Corman. So, yeah, but it was the teachers always. It was that priest and then that professor and then Cassavetes who was the one who was saying, do this. Yeah, it's good, but you can do more.
Better.
Yeah, you can do more.
I remember taking my kids to the Gare Montparnasse in Paris, and it's now a concrete monstrosity,
I know.
but reimagined. As you look back through your films, I mean, how have you tried to find the dividing line between realism, because some of there's confronting realism in some of what you do, and then kind of pure imagination, which takes in a different...
That's a good question because it's always a battle. It's always a battle. I don't know. I'd hoped that it could be more imagination. I'd hoped. I just don't want it to be misconstrued as well, not just a realist in a way, which, by the way, is also pretty hard. It's not easy. But there's something about Cassavetes and Kazan, Ilya Kazan's films on the waterfront and facing the crowd and picture, but particularly on the waterfront in East of Eden. I saw them when I was 12 or 13, right around the same, right before I saw Kane and Third Man. And there's something about the way the acting, the emotional power of the acting, the emotional power of the dialogue, the stories, and the behavior of the actors. And that translated into Cassavetes, which became more improvisatorial, almost as if it was happening as we're speaking now. And that's why I sort of like documentaries too, and I sort of combined the two, you know.
But if you throw into that early mix, one of the early mixes in cinema was surrealism.
Yes, I know.
And film was a great thing for surrealism because because photography had its originals with real, you know, it looked real. And you think of the early one with the train, and everybody goes, but that in itself's mildly surreal.
Yes, it is.
But the surrealists really picked up on that big time.
Yeah.
And of course that fed into Hollywood. I mean, how much surrealism in Hollywood movies? It's
Tons
tons of it.
In this film. In this film.
Yeah,
you can
sure.
Feel it. You can feel it in this film.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's always been this battle, a kind of, not a battle, but a way of trying to put it together. In Hugo, we found it a lot. And that was kind of freeing in a way. That was kind of really enjoyable. The latest film, The Wolf of Wall Street, at a certain point, if they're behaving the way they're behaving, if you got the cameras in the right position and the actors are up for it, I'm not going to get in there and make a mess. As long as they come back to a certain point, I can, you know what I'm saying? You know, and we shoot, and it turned out to be, that's what the problem is to know when to stop. It's like painting or something when you know, it's like, don't tell
Just
the
leave it
actor anything
alone.
else, don't tell them anything, just shoot it and shut up, you know?
There's got to be space, isn't there?
Yeah.
You've got to allow space.
That's the problem now, yeah, because we have to start editing it, and I still haven't come down from the shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you need like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't have the time. So you got to slowly. It's like a vaccination of some sort. You got to slowly. Other people have their editors working all the time,
Yeah.
but Thelma and I, we edit together. We like to hang out together. But the way this is in Hollywood now is that they want a film edited in like 5 weeks after it's shot. So I'm not doing it.
Are you still involved in the editing in your own films?
Yeah, no, we do it together.
Wow.
We do it together.
Because it's, I mean, that's most of the film, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the fun. That's the fun. You get in the room, you do it with your editor, have fun, or you do,
Yeah.
I used to do it with her, literally on the machines, but now it's computer, I can't do work the computer. I cannot work, I will not do it. I'm not gonna hit those keys, you can forget it.
Delete. Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now, I remember the first time I got a movie camera, because I got friends in England who make films and television and stuff. I went to the editor. I said, "Tell me what you need." He said, "Start on something, count 10 at least, maybe 5. When you move the camera, know where it's going to finish."
That's a good idea.
So when you move it, so you go da 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 da, and when you get where you're going, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the editor's got something to
It
cut
gets
into.
cut off. No, I tell them all the time, literally, give me a little more for the end, just for the tail, I gotta get in there, you'll cut it, you know. But the thing too is that when he talks about when you know where to stop, that's the key. Imagine in documentary style, you have to have one eye open.
Oh yeah.
You gotta know what's going on.
Yeah.
And you gotta move in here and move up there, you see. You know which person's gonna speak next. It's almost like you have the sixth sense. That's why these great Al Mazals and Penny Baker and all these guys, and a lot of the people who do documentaries are so wonderful, even now on television, some of them, not the quick cut ones, but the ones where they really, deal with the people, But that's been the problem. I've always been drawn to more expressionistic stuff and more imaginative stuff, and yet I find I'm more making films that, as say, quote, realist, unquote, I guess. I don't know. I do think there's something with cinema, though, that you could do, it could appear to be realist, quote, unquote, but in the editing, and in the editing, when you go from one shot to the next, to one scene to the next, or you suggest a flash forward or a flashback, or whatever, with the music, with the track, whatever you're doing with sound, you could reach it's a whole other level. It's not simply realism. It doesn't have to be like one of my great films, like The Red Shoes, which is totally expressionistic, wildly, with the makeup and everything, they're mad. It doesn't have to be. If you can't do that, you can't. That's not what you do. But there's something that's happening with film, and I'll never forget when Kurosawa got his Lifetime Award in L.A. Spielberg and Lucas gave it to him, and we were there for Goodfellas, actually, that night. We were all sitting there, and Kurosawa said, "I just now am beginning to realize the potential of film." He was 82. I mean, this thing is, it's not, I don't know. I mean, look, this is what you're going to see now. It's gone. Really. I mean,